Hello viewers, this is Lipa Buhay. Thank you for all my subscribers, all my viewers, and if you have not subscribed yet, please don't hesitate to click the button below and like and share this video. Today I will be talking about small kids and what a parent can do. A lot of us doesn't think about it, the effects of what we tell our children. So when it comes to clothing, not all of the parents are aware what your kids are experiencing when they are in kindergarten or when they are or daycare centers or when they are in schools. So me as a worker in a kindergarten for like 10 years now, I had been in a lot of conferences and meetings and a lot of courses about how to deal with your kids and all this stuff. Then I have this background about what your kids are experiencing in kindergarten schools or in the elementary schools or even in the grow big, and how it affects them. So first of all, in my own experience, I can see a lot of kids when they come to kindergarten or daycare centers, and then they have very nice clothes, very nice clothes that looks like they're going to to a party. And especially sometimes if the kid has clothes that are expensive clothes, clothes that they are very high branded clothes and they are not cheap. And so some of the parents will, of course, automatically say to the kids that, oh, you don't have to spill over your shirt. Or if it happened already one time that the kids came home and their branded, very nice clothes have some stains and all the stuff that they cannot get. And so some parents, they don't like it. They get some parents, I don't say everybody, I don't say all the parents, but some parents, and it's in my experience, because will tell their kids, oh, it shouldn't be like this, next time you have to be careful, blah 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 blah. But what you can expect to a kid, for example, if they are just 3 years old, 5 years old, or even a kid that is 9 or 10, it's not really nice for them to think about, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't play with this, because my clothes will get dirty or get stained or get wet. And in my own experience, for 10 years working with kids, I had worked with very small kids and up to 5 or 6 year old kids. And what I can see is, like, it's really ridiculous that a kid has to think much more of what he's wearing or her wearing instead of making fun and play in school or kindergarten, especially in daycare centers, these preschoolers. It's very ridiculous that kids has to think about it. And normally there was one time an experience of me. There was a kid and that kid has a very nice clothes on that day. So when we were eating and we have this kind of food, we have a spaghetti, and the sauce can really make a stain. And this kid was so careful, and I was like, what is wrong? Why you have to eat like this? It's very, yeah, I know, but I'm afraid that I get stain on my clothes. And sometimes when they spill over some food or liquid drinks on the table, they are almost like, oh, I'm sorry. And for me, it's so ridiculous why kids has to go through this kind of stage. That is what your kids experiencing when they are in school, when they are in preschool or in kindergarten or daycare centers. And why? It's because when a parent will tell them, or parents will tell them, be careful because this clothes is very expensive and it's very nice, I don't want you to come home with a stain on it. And it's so ridiculous. So if you are sending your kids to school, to preschools, to kindergarten, daycare centers, please, you don't have to put on them very expensive clothes if you are the person who are afraid that, or more worry that the kid will get stain on these clothes, with that the clothes will get destroyed. Do not let them wear it. Let them wear it if you go to a party, you just visit your family and all this stuff. Or if you want your kids to wear this kind of clothes, please don't tell them all these things that what they are not allowed to do because they get stain on their clothes. Another thing is that it really gives a trauma to kids, and they will grow like they will have to be, you know, like afraid of doing something because it will, you know, it will make their clothing dirty, it will destroy their shirt or whatever, or their shoes. And it's very ridiculous that this kind of things will hinder your kid to play, to be happy, to have fun in schools or preschools, or, you know, whatever institution they are in. And in my own experience, it's I get sad that as a kid that is only 3-year-old or 4-year-old, just think of the, or just think, or is just thinking all the time about their clothing, about their shoes, that they get dirty or they get mad on it. And it's very ridiculous. But of course, it's very good also with when it comes to choosing clothes. The clothes that are very good, the branded clothes are can be very durable. But at the same time, if you choose a coat, please choose something that is dirt friendly, like dark colors. If you have this kind of color, of course, it's easy to see if it gets stain on it, especially if they will eat something with tomato sauce, like you know, the spaghetti and all this stuff, and the stain will really get it. Or if they will eat something that is an Asian food that has curry on it, then you will really immediately see if they are wearing a white shirt. And sometimes we who are working in kindergarten or daycare centers, we see it immediately, like, oh, very white, very nice, and oh, it's this is a very expensive brand of clothing. But of course, there are parents that, yeah, if they have a lot of money, they don't care if the kid is wearing a very expensive shirt and it gets stains, they don't say anything. But there are some parents who can really be, you know, just thinking like, oh, she has to be careful, and sometimes they only say it to the kids, and I will tell you, it's not a good effect to the kids, because we experience it, that a kid that is only 3-4-year-old or 5 is just worried and doesn't, you know, cannot freely just do and play and have fun, because the kid is just thinking of the clothes who will get stained or get dirt or get mud on it. And it's very ridiculous. I have 3 boys. Of course, I can also, they have branded clothes, but not a lot of them, because I don't do it. Maybe I buy branded clothes when they are on sale, but then I never in my whole life, for 15 years now of having kids, telling my kid that be careful of your shirt because that is very expensive, be careful of your shoes because that is expensive, you shouldn't have it in the mud, you should. No, I don't do it. Sometimes they come home and they have a jacket full of mud, because when they will play football during the recess time. And one time, one of my kids came home and he said, oh mama, I'm sorry because my jacket is muddy because I fell down in the mud when we were playing football. And I just said, no, it's okay. You don't have to say sorry. I mean, if it's a mud, if it's dirt, why we have a washing machine? Because we will just wash them. And then he said, oh, thank you, mama. But I will really tell you, it's a big trauma to a kid when you say something, you have to be careful of that shoes, or you have to be careful of that shirt because it's very expensive. And you cannot blame, and you cannot either warn the workers in the daycare centers or schools that, oh, he have very nice clothes. You cannot, you don't do that. If there are daycare personals there or in schools, so we are talking about not only 1-2 kids that is in the classroom. We're talking about like 15 to 20 kids or 25 in a classroom or in a group in the daycare center. And another thing that is very good tips to you is like put clothes that are very comfortable to your kids to move. Because when they are in daycare centers, when they are in schools or whatever institution they are in, they have activities outside, they have activities inside, and most of the time when they have activities inside, they can just sit on the, form a circle and sit on the floor. And put it in yourself, if you have a very tight jeans and you sit on the floor and it's not comfortable. I mean, I don't like sitting on the floor when I have tight jeans. Of course, if you want your kids to wear jeans, be sure that jeans are loose jeans or jeans that are stretchable. Because if a stretchable jeans, so it's okay because it's stretchy. So when they sit either on the floor or if they are outside, you know, they can play on in a box there where they have, you know, a lot of sand, and they play there. And, you know, this kind of activities in schools, it's very good that kids have a very comfortable clothing, because I have observed it when kids come to schools and they have very nice jeans, and these are the jeans that are tight and they are not stretchy, and we see it. It's not easy for kids to move. It's not easy for them to climb. I mean, if you put yourself and do it, have a tight jeans, tight clothing, and you go to a park and you play there and climb there and sit on the ground, sit on the sand, it's not nice. It's not comfortable. Why are you sending your kids to a daycare center? They are not there to have a fashion show. They are there to have fun, to learn, to interact with other kids. And that is the most important thing. And so it's very important that they have the right clothing on them. They don't have to have the most beautiful clothing. Of course, I see some kids who has it, because some parents, and I have respect on that, that they look nice on the kids. But you can do both. Like, it's very nice, it's clothes that are very good and very cozy for the kids. It has style on it, but most of the time consider the functionality of the clothes, the functionality of the shoes. So when it comes to shoes, and then normally we teach kids how to put on their shoes by themselves, because some kids, they have shoes that are very functional. I'm inside my house, but I usually have this kind of shoes. It's very good to have kids to have this kind of shoes where they just open it like that and they just put it like that. Because the tendency is, if you put your kids some shoes that have shoelaces, and they will, one day they were like, all the kids, we will go out, we will go to the playground now, and everybody will play. And some kids, they have this kind of shoes. So what happened? It's just very easy for them to put it on, especially like 3-year-old kids. They can already do it. We have a lot of 3-year-old. They know already how to put. And I always say to the parents, buy this kind of shoes, because please, don't let your kid wear shoes with laces. They can never learn. I remember my eldest son, he's 15 years old now. He just started to wear shoes with laces, shoelaces. I think when he was already like 11, 12 years old. Before that, he always had this kind of type of shoes. And why? Because when they will go out and play in the playground, when they have recess, and especially when they are in a kindergarten or a daycare centers, they usually have time where they have to go out and they play outside. And it means that they put it on. And some kids who doesn't have this kind of shoes, who have shoelaces on it, oh my goodness, I will tell you, they cry. They even cry because they feel frustrated that they cannot put on their shoes like the other kids did. So we usually tell the parents, please buy your kids this kind of shoes where doesn't have any shoelace. Try to put on them different kinds of shoes that they can do it by themselves, because when the kids, it's a learning process for kids. And when some kids can do it because they have this kind of shoes that are very easy to put on, it gives frustrations to other kids who doesn't have this kind, who has shoes with laces, and they were like, oh, I cannot put on my shoes, and the others like, oh, look, I can put on my shoes already. They are so happy that they can put on their shoes. So please, the functionality is very important. Sometimes we want to have style on our kids, put a style. We can put it together. That is a style and the functionality. But if like sometimes it can be expensive to buy this kind of shoes, then maybe go for the functionality first and do the style later. So please, if you are sending your kids to school, preschools, kindergarten, whatever institution, clothing is very important. I'm not telling you that it's kind of branded or whatever. It's the functionality that is very important. If you live in a cold country, it's very important that they have extra mittens, you know, extra winter gloves and all these things that make them warm. and put some extra, so because if one will get wet, then they have an extra to put on. So sometimes I know it can be nice, like we go and buy in a fashionable boutique and we see clothing and we see on TVs and how nice it is with the skates, with all this, you know, cool clothes on them, cool shoes on them. But as a parent, it's very important that you have to think, how does it feel for your kids wearing those in their schools, or in especially when they are small, in kindergarten, daycare centers? How does it feel for your kid? Is she or he comfortable? Is your kid sitting there and doing all those activities comfortably? Because comfortability is very important, because it actually affects the kids. Sometimes I can see two kids climbing, and then one has a very comfortable one, especially, you know, the soft pants, like jogging pants or whatever, soft pants. Because it's a lot of variety now of soft pants that are cool. I mean, like, they don't look like jogging pants. They look very cool with different colors and designs, and they are very stylish, but at the same time they are very comfortable. I hope someday I can find maybe some boutiques that are selling it, and I can put a link down there, so I can recommend what style I mean, so I can put. But then, yeah, it's really very important. So I hope that this video can help some parents when it comes to clothing to their kids. Wait for the time when they get teenager, when they get like 15, 14 years old, or even some are like 13 years old, and that time they can handle it by themselves. They can decide for themselves. But while they are small, they are learning things and all this stuff. It's just a ridiculous thing that you go for the fashion first. It should be function before fashion when they are small. You can do both, but be sure that the functionality is also good. You can do the fashion and function at the same time, but it has to go together. Not just you go for the fashion and the functionality is not helping your kid. It's just making your kid's daily life a mess. Thank you so much. This is Evelyn Sigelstrand, and see you next time for my next video.